Hello everyone, and welcome today. We have some repairs to do at the Proving Ground, so we've asked the Builder to come in Dragon Quest Builders. Now, Dragon Quest Builders, to put simply, is Squire Enix's answer to Minecraft, okay? I know at this point in time a lot of people are pretty sick of Minecraft, and yet there's still tons of people play Minecraft to this day. And it's still one of the best-selling games like ever. I mean, Steve just got announced for Super Smash, which a lot of people got pissed off. Particularly not a character I would expect in the game, but hey, for those who really like Minecraft that much, I feel good for you then. But back on topic. Dragon Quest Builders tries to build on top of the formula of Minecraft while remaining its own thing. For those who were back when Minecraft was in its early heyday, oh boy, was whipping off Minecraft like its own gigantic thing. I mean, it wasn't even like to the extent that Builders tries to make itself different, but to the point where it pretty much was almost a carbon copy except for like maybe the theme. Well, let's make it a post-apocalypse. Let's not even try to hide it and just make the graphics different. But Builders does a good job making itself separate from these clone games that were very common when Minecraft was new. Some of the big points I would bring out for it is first, it has a narrative, and that, in my opinion, is a plus for the game, as that's one of my negatives for Minecraft. Well, you can just do whatever you want, and you can make whatever you consider your goal, but in the end, you're not really given any specific thing to do. So if you're wanting to do something, then you're just kind of left there and be like, eh. But Dragon Quest Builders has a story, and to start off with that, I do want to note that we will be spoiling the end of Dragon Quest 1 storyline, because, well, that's where the game begins, so... Unavoidable. So, if for some reason you're concerned about spoilers for the original Dragon Quest game, you have been warned. So let us begin this tale. So, Dragon Quest Builders is an alternate timeline of a bad decision. If you've ever played Dragon Quest 1, when you get to the Dragon Lord, he offers you half the world in joining him, versus stopping him. If accepted, in the original game it just ended the game, and in other remakes of it, remasters and such, Dragon Quest 1 dictated that choice as a nightmare that you would wake up from. But in this scenario, that happened. The hero gave up their mantle and joined the Dragon Lord and acquired half of the world. And so the world fell into darkness, and civilization crumbled. So what of it? Well, you awaken in a shallow hole in the ground, or awakened by the goddess of the original trilogy, who beckons you to save this world by building it again. For some reason, civilization has forgotten how to build, and you have somehow been given that wisdom by the goddess. So you go out to rebuild the world in 4 chapters. Now, my first big criticism with the game is that it's in 4 chapters. The game isn't self-contained into one thing or that. So, there's no progression from one chapter to another. You forget everything, you get new recipes and equipment in a new chapter, and nothing carries over, and I honestly don't like that, and that's something they actually do address in the sequel, which we'll obviously get to that in the future. I'm actually playing through that right now on stream again. But I don't really like that. You go through the chapters have a general play, you go to one of the locations that are well known in Dragon Quest 1's universe, and you go there to rebuild it. The base gets attacked you'll get like a set amount of requests of rooms to build, things to do, places to go in that location, and at times your base area of the town will get attacked by mobs of enemies. Eventually, you'll overcome the situation of that chapter, and that will bring forth the ruler of that section of the world to attack the base to try and stop you, and this triggers a special boss fight. Each of the bosses for each chapter are unique in their own. They're different here and there in that. They don't play out like how the regular enemies in the field are. They're not overall difficult, but they're fun. The only one I really have any real criticism about is the final one, but obviously we'll get to that in the spoil. On top of the 4 chapters, you do have a special side mode that's basically this is a big world, do whatever you want in it. And there is no actual co-op or anything in this game. In this mode, it allows you to get structures from other players to appeal into your world. Kinda meh to me. Didn't really do much in it at all, honestly. Kinda forgettable. Something else they vastly improved on in the sequel, but again, that's a future topic when we get to that. So that's the general gist of the 4 chapters in their soul. Now, it's a Minecraft game. You know, you blow up shit, you get blocks and things and that. It has farming, you can grow stuff and change the environment. You can make water and stuff, you know, just a lot of familiar things from Minecraft. I don't think I have to go into too much big detail about that. But it has a lot of Dragon Quest paint on it. It has some familiarity block tiles when you look at maps and stuff and that. But let's get into the more, like, things that help make it stand out from simply being a Minecraft clone. So, first thing, the whole game's in third person. This has its good and bad. I actually like it in a story sense, being in third person, but when you're digging, like, small tunnels and things, the camera, like, in a very small, straight tunnel is terrible in third person. Now, all the pre-built structures, places that'll be dungeons and caves that'll always pre-made, they all take the camera in that all into mind for the most part. But any caves you dig out that are super small are going to be a nightmare. Again, something else that gets addressed in the sequel. Again, a future topic when we get there. It's not game-breaking, but it can be annoying until you get the upgrade that lets you destroy multiple blocks faster. When you get to that, having such a really small tunnel isn't as much, like, that's more something you're doing on yourself at that point, but still a minor jab. If you want first person, there is no option for that. So, if you solely like these type of games and that's going to be a negative to you. Now, there are special, like, bosses and things you can find in each chapter, but again, like I said, there's no progression of the things from one to another, so any unique equipment you find from one to another will not be carried over. If the item exists on another boss or something in that chapter, then you can get from it. But other than that, if it doesn't exist in the next chapter, you can't get it. So if there's anything you liked from one chapter, you may not find it again for another chapter, or for the rest of the game for that fact, which is, again, a shame in my opinion, because I hate games that take like, rarely will I view taking things you progressed away permanently as a good thing. That's very rare to me. I like the momentum of carrying things forward, so it's just a minor gripe though. Now, you'll build citizens up and stuff. People will come to each of the towns you're building up. They'll give requests. Some of them will do things, but in general, they just mainly ask you to do stuff. They changed that up again a bit more in the sequel. Again, I know. Future topic. Now, because you don't have first person, you may be like, well, how do you know if you want a block to be higher or lower? Well, the shoulder buttons are used to aim up and down. And when you have neither of them held on and you like build a block, your character will put a block on the ground level and then one block on top of it automatically if you keep holding the button. And you can move sideways to like do that to build structures and stuff faster. But if you specifically want a block additional higher or lower, you can use the shoulder buttons to do that. These both have advantages and disadvantages compared to first person. Kind of dictates what your personal cup of tea in that is. Now, something that is a wee bit odd is the control layout for other actions, in my opinion. Jumping Z button and the X button is the menu. That continues even in the sequel to confound me to a certain extent. Well, the triangle button is your button to use your current equipped weapon. Now you can switch between hammers and swords. Obviously, your hammer is used for your destructing needs, and your sword is used for fighting, as you will need. Now, if you want to change the controls, you can modify the look up and down buttons to a few of the shoulder buttons, but outside of that, there is no options to change what buttons do what. So, if you're playing on PS4, I don't know if you can rebound buttons on Vita, because this is on PS4, Vita, and wasn't it on the PS3 too, actually? I think this was a game that came out only in... Let me double check that, actually. I think it... But that was only Japanese. I'm pretty sure it was on PS3. I'll double check you. But I know it's on Vita with a Asian English edition. That it didn't get a physical version in America on the Vita, but it did get a Asian English version, which is the most expensive version, FYI. But it's on Switch. It is not on PC. Yeah, it was on PS3 for Japan, but if you want West, it's on Switch and PS4. There is no PC version, Asian version, English on Vita. So those are your options, though. But on PS4, if you want to change any of the button combinations, you're going to have to do the system rebound. You can do inverted and normal. That's a pretty normal thing with vibration and that, but you can't modify the actual buttons, which can be a bit weird, because it to me, I can't think of a lot of games with triangles like the common action button and X as the menu. That is very off-putting for me as an RPG player, as triangle is a very common button for menus. And square is used for placing items down. And like I said, the shoulder buttons are used for up and down. You can change which ones you want a little bit on those. But yeah, the controls take a little getting used to me. Sometimes once in a while I'll still fidget them up a wee bit. Now, as I said later on, you'll get a hammer move that lets you destroy more blocks at one time. And what it is, it's a charge attack and it lets you spin. You get for both your sword and your hammer. And it lets you destroy the blocks around you faster with your hammer, and allows you to hit more than one enemy more easy with a sword. You get a bit later, it's useful for, you know, getting more shit torn down and that. This was actually changed a wee bit in the sequel. Again, something we'll comment on. That has a bit of a positive and negative effect towards that change. And I will obviously get to that when we get to the sequel. What a reoccurring line! Stop it! But to put simple, I actually really enjoyed the game for the most part. The one thing I think was kind of weak in some of the stuff was a lot of traps. The first chapter teaches you a lot of trap stuff. Traps I kind of felt were kind of underutilized in the first game myself. But, you know, I'm not a building master. If you go watch me play the games, I'm very on the fly with the things I build or that. Now, as I said, you do get waves of monsters that attack your bases in each of the chapter, and certain monster types can destroy certain environments of blocks. So it is good to note what blocks take longer, or sometimes are just immune to certain enemy types attacks to help defend off your town better. It is greatly useful if you pay attention to that. But outside of that, it has its own story of you rebuilding these towns that all fell apart. If you're familiar with Dragon Quest 1, like I said, these are locales in actual Dragon Quest 1, and some of them take part in certain story elements, such as the golem that sits outside that one town in Dragon Quest 1. That's a whole plot point in Dragon Quest Builders, so very interesting and fun to play out. That's something I'm actually missing in Dragon Quest Builders 2, because it really does the whole story very different than what Builders 1 does. So it has its ups and downs in that. I think it's good for keeping the mystery alive, because essentially you already know the story that's going on in Dragon Quest Builders 1, essentially. It's pretty cut and dry if you've played Dragon Quest 1. It's pretty easy and predictable to understand what's going on in it. But with Dragon Quest Builders 2, it leaves a lot more mystery, so they got their ups and downs. You're not getting as much of the good, fun references, but it's keeping the mystery a lot more intriguing. So as you play the game, your character will have dreams that are scenes in Dragon Quest 1. Again, very reminiscing if you've played the original Dragon Quest. And they leave a lot of suspicion on who your character is. Because remember, you wake up in a fucking hole. A hole underground. And it's like, who the hell are you exactly? That's kind of one of the mysteries in Builders 1 as you progress through the story. Who you are, and even questioning why you don't actually level up actually has a story significance in the game. The game is very charming for Dragon Quest fans. If you're familiar with Dragon Quest, you'll find a lot of items and things of familiarity from the series and that. I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot more than Minecraft, honestly, because I just like having a actual story, a progression, a goal and such in mind versus just being left to your own devices. And if you love building things in Minecraft, like, you know, those big retro sprite characters and that out of box, you can still do that in Dragon Quest Builders 1 in any of the chapters, or you can do it in the free mode. You'll have that power to do that. So you can still make some very wonderful creations. It's just more about the story, in my opinion. Again, that's something I feel like they, again, dress more in Dragon Quest Builders 2, allowing more interesting freedom to build whatever the fuck you want, while also still having a story. Again, I know. We'll get into that when we get to Builders 2. Uses a lot of Dragon Quest music and everything. The music works just fine. I think you'll find a good number of fair, memorable tunes in the game. Honestly, all I can really say in the simple, if you like Minecraft and you love Dragon Quest, I say it's definitely worth giving Builders a try. I think it's worth a good solid $39.99 personally when it comes to its price tag. Now, luckily, you can find this game for the cheap for the most part, usually around $19.99 brand new, and usually you can get a bit cheaper if you look for used or digital sales. Again, it's on Switch, Vita, PS4, PS3, no PC or Xbox. Japanese only on PS3, and Asian English on Vita. Now, if you're looking for the physical version, all of them are decently easy to get except for the English Vita version. That version usually about $90, so that's a your call kind of situation. Now, the, like, performance, like, I didn't have any real bugs or anything happen with Dragon Quest builders. Sometimes the characters can be a little nitpicky about certain rooms they request, and sometimes you might not realize what you're doing wrong instantly on that, but that's just more of a doing it wrong situation or misunderstanding, not necessarily a bug issue. But one general thing that is weird about the English version of Builders, though, to note, for performance-wise, is there are a few weird frame issues that seem to be only in the English version. I remember when the game came out, people were pointing out when those text and dialogue scenes happening, sometimes those weird frame issues happening compared to the Japanese version. This seems to be some kind of case in the localization of it. But it's not game breaking or anything, just a small performance fluke thing, not anything game breaking. I'd say for a first try at this whole thing, because Square Enix has nothing in this kind of gameplay of a Minecraft-esque game, at least that I'm aware of, I think they did a pretty good first job. There were definitely things they could do to improve more, and believe me, when we get to Builders 2, they improved quite a bit. I'm not done with Builders 2 yet. I'm just going to the third island, and it's been like the first chapter of it was just blew pretty much the entire Builders 1 out of the ground. So definitely look forward, likely what's going to be a much highly recommended and enjoyed game over the first Builders. But I still did enjoy my quest through Builders 1. I do recommend it, so I hope you will check it out. And let us get into spoilers. So, you know, the story's likely pretty easy to predict for most people, you know. You're gonna save the day. You probably had a lot of suspicions like I did that you were likely a reincarnation of Eldrick being given a chance to reprimand from your sins, and you will be wrong. You aren't. Because you fight the hero who betrayed humanity in the final chapter. And you find he got screwed on quote-unquote half the world. But yeah, that was kind of weird. You're a relative of Eldrick, though. You are related to him in some extent, whether it be very far relative or close relative. You are a surviving member of his bloodline, thus you were given life to help rebuild the world, but you aren't destined to be a hero. And this is something that becomes a growing concern as you progress through the game, and as you fulfill the last town, which is the castle of the original Dragon Quest. Because if you remember correctly, that the Dragon Lord's castle is literally just across the water from the starting castle. But you'll be told that you have successfully set up a whole situation for a hero to show up, and your job is well done. And the goddess says for fulfilling your task given to you allows you to live your life, but not wanting to let the friends and societies he helped build topple. Well, he, her, because your character can be male or female. Very little customization, FYI. Very little customization, FYI. But your character will decide they will want to fight the Dragon Lord and go against the wishes of the goddess, and goes and fights the Dragon Lord. Now, I said I had complaints about the Dragon Lord fight, and I do. Why? Because it is batshit easy. Not easy, not just simply easy like the other boss fights, but it's easy because it gives you infinite healing, essentially. People from your various towns you built will appear and throw helping items that you will need to fight the Dragon Lord, and one of them are recovering items. So essentially, as long as you're playing your cards right, you're always being given healing items, and you can heal all your fuck-ups in the fight. The only way you're going to really lose is if you fuck up too many times prior to getting some healing items. Other than that, and I generally got enough healing items each time I've tried them. I've tried them a few times recently just to kind of refresh my mind just for this review, because it's been a while since I finished Dragon Quest Builders 1, so I definitely wanted to be a little more refreshed on the Dragon Lord, because he was pretty much the big upsetting fight. Now, the first fight with him in his humanoid form is good. That's good. That has no help or anything. Whatever you bring into that fight is what you deal with. But it's the second part when he turns into his dragon that I'm talking about, where the townsfolk help you, and I just found it was just super fucking easy. It uses your skills of needing to build and several of the defensive weapons you've learned from some of the islands, which that's all good and dandy. But the fact that you're just given all these healing items on top of all that just kind of makes the whole deal just really... And that's ultimately was just a sour end to what I overall found a pretty pleasing game, honestly. Finding out the builder was just a welder and not actually a reincarnation of the hero, because honestly, I thought that honestly was where it was going, because you kept having dreams of the hero's journey from Dragon Quest 1. I honestly thought that was the way it was going, and the ending leaves it kind of ambiguous, because the goddess tells you that she left you enough life force, because you're dead. You're actually just a walking corpse. Because several times it's brought up, why don't you actually like level up? Why don't you become stronger? The only strength you get is from building things. When you build things, you get sometimes some minor effects towards you or the residents, but that's it. You don't actually level up at all in this game. And that's because you're a walking corpse. You were given life again through the goddess, and she gave you enough life to live after you finished your task. Upon defeating the Dragon Lord, you supposedly expelled the remaining of your energy, and it's left vague on what happens to the poor builder. You awaken in the middle of rebuilding the castle, the OG castle, which is, because if I remember correctly, in Dragon Quest 1, the town was smaller, and then in Dragon Quest 2, they merged the town and castle into one, so that's kind of a nice little bridge there, if I'm remembering that correctly. It's been a long time since I played 1 and 2. But they're like rebuilding the town as a part of the castle, and the character who wakes up looks just like the builder, but it doesn't appear to be the builder, and this is where a lot of speculation is thrown into the final part of the ending, because there's no real indefinite know whether it was, like, was it a dream? Is this an ancestor of yours? Like, this is a future generation of your children trying to continue your legacy? Maybe the builder survived and it actually is the OG builder. It's left speculative, and a lot of people have came up with different ideas on what happened there, but ultimately it just really is left to your own devices. And so far in Dragon Quest Builders 2, that's never answered yet anything about Builders 1, so I'm hoping there'll be some kind of appearance of something from Builders 1 and 2. One particular thing I would like to see is actually the evil hero who betrayed it, because he actually runs away after you beat him. And considering he has survived for so long, he must have became some kind of monster or something. So I'm kind of curious for him to reappear myself, since he did run away and didn't actually die. But who knows? Outside that, story-wise, the only thing that kind of rubbed me wrong is a lot of characters look young, and they're like, you know, this is all a post-apocalyptic kind of thing, and it's just like, some things kind of don't line up. Like, we don't know how to build, but somehow we're still surviving. Making foods considered building, but somehow we're still surviving. Like, it's weird. You'd have to see all the dialogue. It's not game breaking or anything, it's just kind of an odd thing. I don't know if that might have been because of the localization or not, but I still enjoyed the game, nevertheless. So, those are my thoughts on Dragon Quest Builders 1. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube or message me on Twitch if you have anything to ask about the game. And, well, if you feel like you learned something interesting about the game, feel free to leave a like on YouTube. Or feel free to leave a dislike, feel free, if you feel like you learned nothing else at all. Oh, and by the way, also, quick thing too. If you're a trophy person, I don't recommend this game, particularly for trophies. If you just play through the game, you get, like, less than, like, 40% of them for beating the game. You basically have to do, like, all the kind of stuff in each chapter, find all the secrets and things to get a lot of the extra stuff, so don't think it's necessarily a big trophy-esque experience there, but eh. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Dragon Quest Builders 1. I hope you all have a good day building, and until next time, hopefully I'll see you for Dragon Quest Builders 2 in the future. Until next time, make sure the descendants of Eldrick don't fall to corruption, because, dear Lord, it's not good. Don't fall to corruption, kids. Don't.